welcome to episode 42 of the Metamagix Monster Manual and another continuation of the Demon Souls chapter. In today's episode, we are going to be covering how I think you should run the Dragon God and subsequent magic item in DnD 5e. As a reminder, you can find a link to every single stat block and every single magic item from the Metamagix Monster Manual in the description of this video. It'll take you to my Discord where you can find downloadable pictures for free. And if you want to see all these monsters and magic items run live in action, you can jump on over to my Twitch stream where I run weekly interactive D&D campaigns featuring all items and monsters from the Metamagix Monster Manual that you, the viewer, can influence. The link to that can also be found in the description. But before we get started with any stats, let's talk about the design goals of the Dragon God. Now, for the stat block, the Dragon God is designed to be a very more unconventional encounter designed around the concept of a puzzle rather than an actual encounter. There are certain conditions that need to be met before you're going to be able to kill the Dragon God, and this encounter would be typically saved for endgame. So with all that in mind, let us begin. So this is the Dragon God, and the Dragon God is classified as a gargantuan fiend with the chaotic evil tag. It has an armor class of 20, 1500 hit points, and a movement speed of 0 feet. It is immobile. For the stats, it has 30 everything. It is a god. It has immunity to all damage, immunities to all conditions, has a passive perception of 20, speaks 0 languages, and has a challenge rating of 15. For the abilities, the Dragon God's attacks are considered magical with magic weapons, and it is also godlike. The Dragon God is immune to all damage with the exception of damage from Divine Ballista, which are a ranged weapon attack with plus 20 to hit and deals 700 points of true damage on hit. The true damage will bypass resistances or immunities. Once the Dragon God has been successfully hit by 2 attacks from Divine Ballista, he becomes weakened and is able to receive damage from all sources normally. So these are the conditions that have to be met. You as the DM would probably place these Divine Ballistas somewhere a bit far away from your players so they have to navigate and traverse through a dangerous territory near the Dragon God before they are able to hit it. And for the actions, we have Dragon God Punch, which is a melee weapon attack, plus 15 to hit, reach 20 feet, one target dealing 10d8 plus 10 bludgeoning damage, which can very well one-shot any character should their health total not be as high as they would hope for it to be. And it also has Fire Breath, which is a recharge on a 5 or 6 on the die. The Dragon God exhales a fiery breath in a 40-foot long, 15-foot wide line. All creatures in the area must make a DC 20 dexterity saving throw, taking 10d10 fire damage on a failed save, or half as much on a success. But the Dragon God, because it is a god, also gets legendary actions. You can take 3 of them, only one at a time at the end of another creature's turn, and gets them all back at the start of its turn. But it only gets 2 of them. It gets Detect. The Dragon God makes a Wisdom Perception check, which is the main point of this encounter, as well as the Dragon God Punch attack, where it can make a single Dragon God Punch attack. So the entire point of this encounter is you position the Dragon God at a random place. You have the whole map set out. You would have your party basically make a series of stealth skill checks to try to avoid the sight of the Dragon God while they make their way towards the Divine Ballista before they activate it, essentially reducing the Dragon God down to only 100 hit points, making it very killable. Now, in the game Demon Souls, you could either have the Dragon God just be sort of immobilized for that last 100 HP, where it just sits there and takes it, or you could have the Dragon God still be able to unleash attacks. It's entirely up to you, depending on what you think your party is capable of handling. But in the end, your party bests the Dragon God. What do they get as a magic item? Well, they are going to get the Dragon Bone Smasher. It is a legendary greatsword that requires attunement by a creature with at least 20 strength. It is a bladeless, thick mass of iron used for smashing. According to the ancestors of Stonefang's excavators, it's said the weapon was created to face dragons. It is imbued with magic to protect the wielder from fire. The damage is 3d6 bludgeoning, so higher than a typical greatsword. You gain plus 2 to attack and damage rolls made with this weapon. And while wielding this weapon, you have resistance to fire damage. If you already have resistance to fire damage, you gain immunity to fire damage. This weapon deals an additional 1d6 damage to dragons, so you could either give this weapon to your party before they fight the Dragon God, as you can get this in Demon Souls before you even start the Dragon God encounter, or you could give this to them as a reward in a dragon-themed campaign setting. Whatever you decide to do with it, it's entirely up to you. But regardless, guys, that is how I think you should run the Dragon God encounter as well as the Dragon Bone Smasher in D&D 5e. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave this video a like, and if you have any questions or comments, you might have some questions about how to run this encounter properly, leave them in the comment section down below. I will try to answer them all. But we only have one more stat block in the Demon's Souls chapter before we wrap this up and move on to our next game. So be sure to subscribe and not miss any of that content coming up very soon. And until next time, guys, have fun, stay safe, and as always, happy gaming.